Okay, welcome to the VP Culture course on creating a culture that values all people. The first unit is Culture Science, and we'll be learning how culture works and how valuing people is the foundation for creating culture. This is lesson 1. So let's dig in here. There's one thing that motivates us all, and all humanity shares the same common motivation. Science and research point to this common answer that we all agree on. Our energy, thoughts, and emotion align us all in this common motivational trait and idea. So let's find out what this one thing is. You ready? So let's jump in. Okay. Einstein used an experiment called the Gedanken experiment to discover the fundamental nature of reality, and he created the theory of relativity. We're going to use a Gedanken experiment or a thought experiment. We're going to use a thought experiment to help us discover the fundamental reality of motivation. I call this the eternity question. Now imagine a sci-fi portal to eternity that you're going to take one thing from this world and go through that portal, and that one thing has to satisfy you for all eternity. So that's a big ask. So ready? Here's the question. If you could have just one thing to satisfy you for all eternity, what would you choose? Look at these options here. When I ask people around the nations, I often hear people, I want money to work. So if you just had money alone, would that satisfy you forever? You could buy all the packages from Amazon that you want forever, but that's all you get. Or you could have enjoyment alone. So that one activity that you love doing, you could do that forever. Your sport, your hobby, whatever it is, enjoyment alone for all eternity, would that satisfy you? Or you could pick an accomplishment. You could build that great house. You could build that big company, the nonprofit, the work of art that you've always wanted to do. Okay, that's the one thing you get to do, but that's all you get to do for the rest of eternity. Or I give you option number 4. You could be surrounded by those who care and value you for the rest of eternity. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which do you choose? And what I find is that most people choose number 4. In fact, 99% of the people that I survey always choose number 4. In fact, they pick it immediately. It's like they don't even have to think about it. Just let that settle in. We've just discovered the universal factor for all humanity and all human endeavors. This one central idea has more power than all other ideas. It is the most powerful motivational force in everyone's life. We will be building VP culture around this one idea, helping each other discover and live by this one central value. Okay, you ready? So let's dive deeper. We're going to talk about somebody who embodied this and discovered this, unfortunately, in a negative way. Michael Phelps started swimming at the age of 7, following in his sister's footprints, who were also swimmers. He soon showed exceptional talent and potential, and by the age of 15, he qualified for his first Olympics in Sydney 2000 Olympics. He did not win medals there, but he set a new world record in the 200-meter butterfly, becoming the youngest male swimmer to ever set a world record. From then on, Phelps embarked on a journey of relentless training and competition, aiming to become one of the best swimmers in history. He trained 6 hours a day and 6 days a week for years. He followed a strict diet and regimen and sacrificed his social life and his personal interests. He broke record after record after record, winning medals and accolades in every major event. He reached the peak of his career in 2008 in Beijing, and he got where he won 8 gold medals, surpassing Mark Spitz's record of 7 gold medals in a single Olympics. Amazing. But there's a dark side to all of this. Behind the glory and the fame, Phelps was struggling with depression and anxiety. He felt empty and lost after achieving his goals. He didn't know who he was outside of swimming. He felt isolated and lonely, despite having millions of fans and supporters, he turned to alcohol and drugs to cope with his emotions. But they only made things worse. He was arrested twice for driving under the influence, and he was suspended from swimming for violating anti-doping rules. He was even contemplating suicide at this point in his life. So what brought him to this point, and how did he get out of it? Fortunately, Phelps found his way out of this dilemma and back to life through therapy, faith, and family. He realized that he needed help, and he sought professional counseling, and he reconciled with his estranged father, and he became a father himself by marrying Nicole Johnson and having 3 sons of his own. He also rediscovered his passion for swimming, but this time it was different. The people were first in his life. Valuing people were first, and the swimming was second. He became an advocate for mental health. He went on to do 1 more Olympics, and he enjoyed his time there, and he's been enjoying his life ever since. So he learned the lesson that valuing people is the one thing that really motivates all people. Okay, now we're going to turn to a scientific study about creating a valuing people culture. Let's look at this. Now, the science behind this was uncovered in a study by Cornell University. They did a long-term study that was over 16 months in length on finding out if valuing people would be essential for a culture to operate well. Now, they surveyed over 432 patients, 165 employees, and 78 families in this organization. So this was a large study over a long period of time. So what they did was they went to the various units within this organization, and they gave a highly structured test to see which of the units was most engineered or most focused on valuing people, having a VP culture within their organization where they were valuing others. And then after 16 months, they studied them again to see how that valuing people culture actually affected those employees, the families, and the patients. And they found that the employees had higher satisfaction rates, lower absenteeism, higher energy. They were excited to come to work. They were less exhausted, and they had greater well-being. Those who were in the VP culture units were the ones that actually ended up doing much better than all the other units. Because VP culture is the one thing that motivates people, and it actually affects our well-being as well. So that's some of the science behind it in a Cornell study that was done in 2014. Now we're going to take a look at some group discussion questions. Let me put these on the board. So how do you feel about the eternity question? Did you choose number 4? And why? How did the other options make you feel for an eternal solution? Question number 2. Discuss how pursuing valuing others over other things would change your actions or life. And then question number 3. What could this mean for your team and for your organization? So go over those questions in your group, pause the video now, and discuss these questions. All right, now, the one thing that motivates all people is the focus of where we're going with this whole series. Valuing people is what motivates all people. And we've just discovered that, and I hope you experience that as well. There's science behind this, but there's also something that you yourself reckon with and agree with, and I find that most people do. We're going to be creating a culture based on valuing people. Now, there's a weekly habit exercise in the workbook that you can focus on by placing your workbook in a place where you'll see it every day. So I encourage you to do that as well. So thanks, and we'll see you next lesson.